All right, going live. Haven't done this in a long time. And it's Friday afternoon. Just figured I'd jump on here. And what I'm going to do today is try to go over some myths about snakes. Thank you guys for joining. Going to go live here. Haven't done this in a long time. A lot of you guys follow me, and I first want to say thank you so much. I really appreciate it. We're getting close to 1 million followers, and that's really cool. I appreciate that. Today, what I'm going to talk about, as best I can, is some of the myths, truths or myths about snakes, specifically rattlesnakes, because that's what I specialize in. I never claim to be a herpetologist nor a snake expert of the broadest sense. There are other people on TikTok that are far more experts in the field of all that is snakes. What I am is a professional snake relocator. And doing that for as many years as I have, I've become quite an expert on specifically rattlesnakes. That's what we find here in Southern California. That is our only venomous snake in Southern California is the rattlesnake. We have several species, but they're all rattlesnakes. So what I'm going to talk about today is I'm going to try to answer some questions that I get all the time. Almost every day I answer these same questions. I'm also going to hopefully clear up some myths. And again, these are specifically myths about rattlesnakes, but some of them will hold true for all venomous snakes. Some of the answers that I'm going to talk about, or some of the things I'm going to talk about here. So thank you guys for joining. I'm going to keep babbling here. Hello from Mexico. Hey, buenos dias. We actually have a house in Mexico. We have a second home in Sonora, in San Carlos, right on the Sea of Cortez. So we go down to Mexico a lot. One of my favorite places in the world is Mexico. So thank you. If you're just joining, my name is Bruce Ireland, and I am a snake relocator in San Diego, California. And what does that mean? Basically is I get called daily to go and remove problem or nuisance snakes from places they aren't wanted, specifically homes, backyards, schools, churches, playgrounds, parks. And we respond to anywhere from 3 to 5 snake calls a day. They're not all rattlesnakes. We get calls for snakes. People don't know what kind of snake they are, so we show up not knowing what we're going to find. A lot of times it is rattlesnakes. Often it's rattlesnakes, but oftentimes it's not. Here in Southern California, we get gopher snakes, we get king snakes, we get rosy boas, we get lyre snakes, we get various garter snakes, but the most common calls we get are rattlesnakes. So again, this call isn't going to be long. I wanted to jump on and do a live feed. It's Friday afternoon. It's about 11 a.m. It's a beautiful day in Southern California. I've not had any snake calls today, so I figured instead of waiting for a call to come in to do a video, I'd do a live call. So thank you guys for jumping on. Hopefully you guys are having a great Friday and the start to a Labor Day weekend. Oh, I love long weekends. I love long weekends because that means I don't have to think about anything until Tuesday morning. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and start talking about myths and truths about rattlesnakes. And these are things that I have learned strictly from doing what I do, and that's snake relocation. Again, I'm not a herpetologist. I didn't go to college for anything to do with snakes or reptiles. I was a business major, had a business job my entire life. Snakes is strictly a passion of mine. The service that I provide my community is a free service. I don't charge a flat fee. I don't charge a fee of any kind. It's 100% donation. And that's one of the questions I get that I wasn't even going to talk about, but I will since I started talking about it is, yeah, it's free. I show up to homes. I do not charge. We have business cards that have a Venmo account on them, and we do say it's strictly donation. Most people donate anywhere from $50 to $150 a snake, which is great. We really appreciate it. Of course, the money goes back into buying equipment, gas for the cars. We have to drive all over San Diego County to get snakes. So, of course, gas at $5 a gallon right now in San Diego. The donations certainly help. I have 4 guys that work with me. I don't want to say for me because we're all volunteers, so no one works for anybody. but I kind of spearhead the snake relocation team we call the Snake Wranglers here in San Diego, California. So I'm going to start off with one of the myths, and then one of the questions I get often asked is, can you tell how old a snake is, a rattlesnake, by how many rattles it has? And the answer to that is absolutely not. When a rattlesnake is born, it's born with one tiny little button, and that's all that snake has. And then each time they shed their skin, they gain a section of rattle. So the first shed, they would have both the button that they were born with, and then they would have a section of rattle. So each time they shed, they gain a section of rattle. Now, rattlesnakes can shed their skin anywhere from 3 to 5 times a year. And how often they shed is based on how often they're eating, how much they're growing. And like humans, you outgrow your clothes, you take those off and put new clothes on that fit you better. Same with rattlesnakes. When their skin gets too tight because they're growing, they shed their skin. So a rattlesnake sheds its skin 3 to 5 times a year, and each time they shed, they gain a new section of rattle. So in theory, that rattle gets longer and longer and longer as they age. But again, you cannot count the sections of rattle. If a rattlesnake has 7 sections of rattle, that does not mean that snake is 7-year-old. The reality is a 7 rattlesnake is probably a year to maybe a year and a half old. Here's the other thing about snake rattles is rattlesnake rattles are made out of the same material that human fingernails are made out of, and it's human hair. Not gray hair, but human hair in general. It's called keratin. And like our fingernails grow every day. And as they grow, if we don't cut them or trim them, they break off. Well, that happens exactly the same way with snakes. A rattlesnake's rattle is very delicate. It's very fragile, and it can naturally break off. It can get caught in rocks. It can happen when, say, a roadrunner pecks at it and breaks off part of its rattle. Something could step on it. It could just get brittle and break off. So what's interesting is I find huge rattlesnakes sometimes, and they only have tiny little rattles, which tells me it's broken off over the years. So again, first question I get asked, not in any order, but one of the common questions I get is, can you age a rattlesnake by how many sections of rattle it has? And the answer to that is no. And again, if you're just joining, you cannot age a rattlesnake's rattle by how many sections of rattle it has, because they gain a section of rattle every time they shed their skin. And they shed their skin somewhere between 3 to 5 times a year. So again, if you see a rattlesnake with 20 rattles, that snake is not 20 years old. If you see a snake with 20 rattles, that's amazing, because it is an older snake, and most snakes don't get to live that long because so many people prefer to kill snakes over letting them be. So anyway, that's a whole nother subject. The second one that I get, and this is probably one that I've actually had the most discussions with. I don't like to argue, but heated discussions with. And that is, people say baby rattlesnakes are more dangerous because they don't know how to control their venom. And this is 100% absolutely not true at all. And here's what is true. So venomous snakes, all venomous snakes, regardless of rattlesnake or any other venomous snake, from the day they're born, they have venom and they know how to use it and they can control it. Even more cool about snakes is, from the day they're born, a venomous snake can control the fangs right to left, left to right. In other words, if they bite you and only their right fang makes contact with your leg, they're only going to squeeze venom through the right fang. And that fang is what's going to inject venom. Same thing applies if they hit with their left fang. They only inject venom with their left fang. Or they do what's called a dry bite. Most people have heard, oh, I was bitten by a snake, but it was a dry bite. Well, what does that mean? Well, rattlesnakes prefer to only use their venom to kill prey. They use venom to kill what they intend to eat. Well, you and I are not their intended prey. They do not want to kill us to eat us. They will bite us. And if they need to, they will envenomate us. But a lot of times, and I think the number is like 50-50, if they bite, they know we're not food. So what a rattlesnake will do is they will dry bite. They will hit you, bite you, but they will not engage their venom glands, and therefore no venom will be put into your body. However, you would not know that when you're bitten by a rattlesnake. You 100% have to assume that they injected you with venom, and you need to assume that that venom is in your body, and you need to go to a hospital. A rattlesnake bite, and we're going to address this down the road a bit with one of my other questions, is a rattlesnake bite is indeed a very serious medical emergency. So again, the question that I get asked a lot is, are baby rattlesnakes more dangerous because they can't control their venom? Not true. Sorry, part of my breakfast. Rattlesnakes from birth, all venomous snakes from birth, can indeed control their venom. Right to left to right, no venom at all, dry bite. Here's the difference though. A baby snake's head is significantly smaller than an adult rattlesnake's head. And I don't know if you can see this. I've got a big rattlesnake. Let's see if you can see that, dude. It's probably not clear, but that is a very, very large rattlesnake. And its head is very, very large. And the reason rattlesnakes' heads are large, and they often are said they're diamond shaped or triangular shaped, is on either side of a rattlesnake's mouth or head is their venom glands, and that gives that wide head look. So if a baby rattlesnake bites you with a very small head, using common sense, it's going to be a much less amount of venom injected than a snake that bites you that's got a 3-inch wide head and hits you with all its venom. It's just basic math. A bigger snake has bigger venom glands, therefore is going to give you a much, much bigger dose of venom. So first question we got asked, rattlesnakes, can you age them by their rattles? No. Are baby snakes more dangerous because they can't control their venom? No, that's not true. Another one I get is, how far can a rattlesnake strike? Okay. And again, that means when it decides to bite, how far can they actually reach you? And there's been studies done, and the consensus is half their body length, if it's coiled, is how far they can strike. So in quick basic math, a 4-foot rattlesnake coiled up that you encounter on the trail, and you decide you're going to walk by it, how far can that snake get you? About 2 feet. But I always tell people that aren't snake people, that don't like snakes or scared of snakes, give them twice what you think their body length is. You see a snake that you think's 4 feet long, give them 8 feet. No way they're going to get you. There's no way they're going to be able to hit you. I often see snakes and they're huge. I'll get within 3 foot of a 6-foot snake, knowing that I'm probably outside of range, but I would never, ever recommend anybody else doing that. I've been around them enough to know that that's their range. Now, one thing that I've learned is if they're up against a wall or pushed into a corner, they can actually use that backstop, if you will, to get a little bit further. So again, if you're going to hedge your bet and try to walk by a snake that you see on a trail, give it twice its body length. See a 2-foot snake, give it 4 feet, 5 feet, 6 feet. You can't go too far. I mean, if you're questioning it, go further than you think you need to. But again, a rattlesnake, in theory, and based on tests I've personally done myself, and I know other people that mess with snakes, about half their body length is a good rule of thumb. People always say rattlesnakes jump. And I usually, if you followed me for long enough, I sometimes have fun with that comment, and I write back, no, they don't jump. Kangaroos jump. Snakes don't jump. Snakes don't have legs. They do not have the ability to jump. You and I can jump. We have legs. Snakes don't have legs. I think when people say snakes jump is when they strike. And a strike by a snake is not a jump. They're not flinging their body off the ground at you, although they do come off the ground sometimes. I've seen videos where a snake will actually strike so hard that the weight pulls its body off the ground, but that's not very common. And since we're talking about the dangerous aspect of a snake, and that's its strike, and do they chase and do they jump? They do not chase, okay? Snakes have no interest in following humans, chasing humans. They will defend themselves. I always hear water moccasins. That's the big one. I was in Florida, or I was in Texas, and I was walking by this river, and this snake chased me for a mile. I call a big old BS on that one. No. I've been around water moccasins hundreds of times. They are a very, let's say, defensive snake. Water moccasins will often open their mouth and show that big white mouth. That's why they're also called cottonmouths. But they don't chase. No snake is going to chase you. They may move towards you if they think where you're standing is the best path of them getting away, if they don't have an alternate to get away, but they aren't going to chase you. If you walk past a snake, you're not going to turn around and see him creeping up on you, okay? That is not true at all. So again, let's quickly recap. You cannot age a snake, a rattlesnake, by how many rattles it has. That is not true. They gain a rattle section every time they shed their skin, and they shed their skin 3 to 5 times a year. The second one, baby rattlesnakes are more dangerous than adult rattlesnakes because they do not know how to control their venom. That is not true. All snakes, all venomous snakes, can control their venom from the time they're born. How far can a snake strike? In theory, as best as I would advise, half their body length is what I feel they can strike. If you want to be safe, give them twice their body length. You see a 3-foot snake, give them 6 foot, you're going to be fine. One of the other ones I get all the time is somebody found rattlesnake eggs. They were in their backyard and they were looking somewhere and they unburied rattlesnake eggs. Not going to be rattlesnake eggs. Rattlesnakes do not lay eggs. Some snakes do. Rattlesnakes do not. All rattlesnakes give live birth, okay? They do not lay eggs. So if you find an egg and it appears to be small and reptilian, it will not be a rattlesnake. Rattlesnakes give birth to about 8 to 12 live babies, and the mothers don't stick around very long. They may stick around for a few days or a day or two, but the rattlesnakes, once they're born, are completely capable of taking care of themselves, and often they just move along on their own. I have my little notes here. One of the ones I've been hearing lately, and this is really weird, is some rattlesnakes aren't venomous. Some rattlesnakes aren't venomous. There are rattlesnakes that aren't venomous. No. If it is a rattlesnake, a crotalus, which is the rattlesnake, if it is a rattlesnake, it is venomous, okay? There are no non-venomous rattlesnakes. And while we're on it, the other one I get all the time is that snake is poisonous. Poisonous versus venomous. It's one of those gray areas, and I typically don't like to get into a pissing match about whether somebody says venom or poison, but I will say this. Snakes are venomous, not poisonous, and here's the difference. Poison is ingested. I eat or drink something that's poison. If I go into my cabinet in there and get a bottle of Drano, okay, or Tide Pods or something like that. Some people like Tide Pods. I don't get that. But anyway, you get Drano and I drink it. I've been poisoned, okay? I haven't been venomated. If a rattlesnake bites me, a bite is injected. That is envenomated. I've been envenomated by a venomous animal. If I'm stung by a bee, that's venom. If I am hit by a scorpion, sorry, there's a hummingbird trying to come in my garage. If I am stung by a scorpion, that is venom, okay? That is the big difference. Ingested, drank, swallowed is poison. Injected is venom. Hope that makes sense. I always like when I hear somebody comment from a younger kid that says, hey, that's a venomous snake. And I love it because obviously they've decided to make the difference in their brain between what is poison and what is venom. They don't jump and chase. What else do I got? Here's a big one. I know a lot of people don't like snakes. And I'm certainly not trying to convince the world that snakes should be the next Labrador Retriever and that we should all have them as pets. That's not at all what I do. What I try to do is educate people that are open-minded enough to learn and listen that snakes aren't evil. They are not horrible animals that are out to kill us. They do not lay in wait for a human so they can bite us and kill us. Most snakes want nothing to do with humans. Most snakes will prefer to never bite a human if they don't have to. In fact, most venomous snakes hope that their camouflage, that you won't see them, and they'll walk right by you. And with rattlesnakes, what I've learned is, first of all, they will use camouflage. So they'll hide in bushes and hope you don't see them. If they determine you have actually spotted them, their next line of defense after camouflage is going to be rattle. That tail starts to rattle. That's their warning that I'm here. You now hear me and see me. Do not touch me. Do not grab me. And then we will be fine and I will not bite you. And then if that doesn't work and you still choose to grab them or step on them or take a shovel and try to kill them, they will bite you. And here's a fact, and I love this one. So in the United States, and again, I'm not talking Australia or India or Africa, where there are a lot more envenomations and a lot more dangerous snakes and a lot more deaths to humans. But in the United States, there are only on average a year about 8,000 bites, okay, by a venomous snake. 8,000 annually in the United States. Of those, five people die, okay? Now here's the kicker. Of those five, usually it's because they had some type of anaphylactic shock reaction or they have an allergy to the snake venom, which causes the venom to act more quickly, and therefore those people unfortunately don't survive. So of the 8,000 bites, very, very few actually die. So when people say rattlesnakes are deadly and every bite is deadly, that is not true at all. There are very few bites, and from those, even fewer actually die. So my suggestion is just leave them alone, okay? Leave snakes alone. Don't pick them up. Don't grab them. Don't try to make a TikTok video by showing how brave you are by picking up. By the way, if you've been watching my videos lately, I've been doing stitches with some of the more idiotic people I see on TikTok, posting videos of them holding snakes or grabbing snakes or killing snakes, because they've made their point to put themselves in harm's way to make a TikTok video, which, man, I'll tell you, there's all levels of stupid. That's right there at the top of the stupid list, in my opinion. Here's another fact, and then I'm going to cut this off because I'm getting hungry. Of those 8,000 bites, it's a really high percentage, and I think that they say it's around 75%. So 75% of the 8,000 bites are male between the ages of 18 and 25 years old. And here's the funny part about it. Of those males between 18 and 25 years old that are bitten by snakes, a high percentage of those are drunk or on drugs. So two chemicals come together when there's a snake bite usually. Testosterone and alcohol. Men drunk between the ages of 18 and 25-year-old decide to do something stupid and grab a venomous snake. And then the snake is blamed for biting that kid. So I just think it's a very avoidable thing. If you're afraid of snakes and you're afraid of the fact that you might get bitten by a snake, just avoid them, man. Don't grab them. Don't step on them. Don't get a shovel and try to split them in two. Just give them some space, man. Enjoy them. They're part of nature. They're part of our natural environment. They're a really cool part of our ecosystem. And if you see a snake while you're out hiking or in your yard, just give it space and let it live. Again, I'm not on here to try to convince people the value of snakes, although I hope some of you do see the value of snakes. I'm just here to kind of debuff some of these myths about snakes. And today I covered rattlesnakes age by their tails. Nope. Are baby rattlesnakes more venomous because they can't control their venom? Nope. Do snakes jump or chase? Nope. So that's it. I'm actually going to look down and see if I see any. Just leave them alone. They're in nature for a reason. That's right. I have a ball python. Hey, so do we. I don't think she's out of her enclosure right now. I'll show you real quick. Right now, my reptiles are temporarily in our garage because we're remodeling our house, but I'll show you a couple things. So we have a bearded dragon, and she's, hopefully you can see that, kind of heavy. She eats too much. And then we have a ball python, and she's not out right now, but I'll show you a couple things. In here, I have a baby rattlesnake that is just from a relocation last night. And then in this cage, let's see. Sorry, I'm going to drag you through this. I wasn't intending to open this cage up, but some people want to see. So this is a snake that I got yesterday. And I don't know if you can see that big girl. Hold on, I'm trying to get a hook without taking my eyes off of her. But that is a big rattlesnake. Love you. And yeah, Southern Pacific rattlesnake. We're gonna release her back into the wild later today. But this is the one, if you've been watching my videos, that I think something's wrong with her. And I think she may have eaten rat poisoning because she is too mellow and really doesn't rattle at all. You know, most snakes, when you pick them up, are going to rattle. So anyway, my wife just walked out and she's filming me. Go away, human. Yeah, my wife thinks I'm weird. She thinks I'm freaky. Sorry, I'm trying to pay attention to the snake cage because I love snakes. And obviously, most people don't. So anyway, that was it. Let's see. She is pretty. She is beautiful. Yeah, I would rattle when you opened it. Yeah, it would have rattled. Yeah, something's wrong with that snake. That particular rattlesnake I got 2 nights ago from a house that had chickens, and I think they had rat poisoning out. And I think what happened, and I'm just guessing here, is that snake may have eaten a rat that had rat poison in it, because it's not a normal snake. Let's see, in the cage once because I was in a rush, and now he strikes when I try to get him out. I fed my snake. Yeah, you know, if you have a pet snake, I suggest feeding him outside of the enclosure that he lives in for that reason, because a lot of times then if you get them associated with you opening the cage and putting a mouse in, they may think that every time you put your hand in, there's a mouse. The other reason I don't like to feed my ball python in the enclosure is because mice are gross. As soon as they get into an enclosure of any kind, they start pooping and peeing. And within 15 minutes, you'll have 20 little rat poops. And then you got to find every one of those in your snake enclosure. And I use sawdust on the bottom of mine, or shavings. And to find all those rat poops is impossible. So I take her out and put her in a separate cage. Mine, blah, blah, enclosure 11 years before I got her. So there is no hope. Okay, you feed live mice? Yeah, my ball python will not take frozen. We tried for the first 2 months that we got her. We rescued the ball python off of Craigslist. Don't know why, but she just won't eat frozen, so it's always live mice. It's just nature. That's how it goes. Would a vet be able to do anything for the snake? You know, I don't know. You know, I guess maybe, but the associated cost of taking a snake that's not my pet to a vet would come out of my pocket. And, you know, that's not something I want to do. And I truly believe something happened with that snake neurotically, or neurologically, I guess is a better term, because I think its eyes, I think it's blind. It doesn't seem to pick up motion, which is weird. Do you try braining the frozen? Yeah, I've tried everything with frozen. And a risk of getting bit. We feed live mice. Have you dealt with red-bellied black snakes? No, we don't have those here. This is I'm in California. I'm in San Diego, California. So if you're in another country, the only venomous snakes that I have to deal with here are rattlesnakes. I am originally from Houston, Texas. I lived there till I was 25. And there I dealt with coral snakes, water moccasins, copperheads, and rattlesnakes. But when I moved to California some 30 years ago, it's just rattlesnakes. You ever got bit doing what you do? You know, that's interesting. That's probably the most common question I get, and I actually meant to answer that on here, so I'll answer it now. So doing what I do, I encounter snakes every day of my life almost, except when it's not snake season, which is the winter time. I have never, knock on wood, I've never been bitten by a venomous snake. I've had some close calls, but never have I been bitten by a venomous snake, and I plan to keep it that way. A venomous snake bite, here's a scary fact. If you are bitten by a venomous snake, the cost associated with that bite and the hospital bills and the antivenom is around, you might want to sit down for this, it is around $70,000, okay? Now, insurance may or may not cover some of that, but $70,000, that is a fact. I have interviewed people that have been bitten by snakes, and that number is consistent with each one of those people. So yeah, $70,000. I can do a lot with 70 grand, including a new 7 Series BMW or at least a 5 Series BMW. So, but I have been bitten by many non-venomous snakes. In fact, when I go on a call and I realize that the snake that I'm going to encounter is a non-venomous snake, I never use tools. I always pick it up freehand. Of those snakes, I'd say 1 in 20 turns around and whacks me. It's not painful. It's usually draws blood because they have a lot of razor sharp teeth, but they're not injecting any venom. So anyway, yeah, I've been bitten a lot. Yeah, that one guy from the TV show got bit. It did store, yeah, it's $100,000. You know what? I saw that. Was that Venom ER? I think that's the show I watched years ago, and I think that Venom ER was filmed here in San Diego, and I think that snake that bit him was exactly what is in the 2 tanks behind me, the Southern Pacific rattlesnakes. They are highly toxic, man. I don't want to get bit. Sorry, now my dog's barking out there. I had a close encounter with a red belly black snake. So you must be in Australia. Yeah, I hear they're pretty nasty. Again, I'm not an expert on all snakes outside of this country. I know a lot about a lot of snakes, but red bellies I don't know that much about, but I know they're pretty deadly. BMW, you're making more sense to me now. Yeah, 70 grand would be probably, what, could you get a 5 Series for that? I haven't had a BMW in years. I used to drive BMWs and Mercedes. Now I'm strictly a minivan guy because I got kids and dogs and hunting and camping and fishing and surfing. So up here in the Northeast, we have rattlers. Yes, you do. Yeah, you definitely do. We have Northern Pacific rattlesnakes. Did it very passive and small. Actually, I was playing with one. I don't recommend that. When are you going to send a plane ticket? When are you going to send me one? I don't know. When do you want to come out? I do get asked that all the time. People are always like, hey, can I come out and will you train me? I actually love doing that. I get snakes and I put them in my backyard and we play around with them, and I try to teach people how to properly use snake tongs, snake hooks, buckets, how to properly put a snake in a bucket without getting your hand bit. So yeah, I do that often. Usually we start with non-venomous snakes before we move up to rattlesnakes. But yeah, come on out. San Diego, 75 degrees, always nice, love it. Yeah, I'm in Ontario, Canada. We just met a little one, Massaga. It's funny, I'm Canadian. Well, I never lived there, but my mom and dad are from Winnipeg, Manitoba. And all my family is in either Vancouver, Winnipeg, or Montreal. So I have Canadian in my blood. I'm trained, just want to come along. Cool. Yeah, man, I'd love it. Did the Southern Pacific rattlesnake ever die from poisoning? No, I just showed it. It's in the tank behind me. It's right there. That is the mellow snake that was poisoned. And so far, just monitoring it. I hope it doesn't die, and I hope I don't have to dispatch of it. I don't like killing snakes, and I'm just hoping that it makes a recovery. You happen to do more snakes in lawn furniture. Oh, yeah, that call, I don't know if you guys saw it. It was actually the one video that I did that I guess the word is viral. It's had close to 18 million views. And if you didn't see it, it's pretty cool. It's the one video TikTok hasn't banned. Yeah, they keep banning my videos. But yeah, we got a call from a lady who said she was washing off the covers on her patio furniture. And my wife came with me and we showed up, and there were four rattlesnakes on a couch underneath the cover of the couch. And when I pulled the cover up, sorry, I have an itchy nose. When I pulled the cover up, I was shocked because rarely do we find more than one snake, let alone 4. So yeah, it was crazy. Sorry, my dog's going crazy on me now. I just saw your video and saw you were live. Hey, cool. Did you release the hognose that was caught in the wire? I didn't have a hognose. That might have been somebody else. We don't get hognose here in Southern California. I did have a striped racer that was caught in the wire. We did get that one out. We had a big gopher snake caught in wire, and I did get that one out. So yeah, but not a hognose. We don't get hognose here. Maybe that was another guy. Cool. Any more questions? I'll answer one more, and then I got to go. My dog's banging on the door back there trying to get out. Anyway, if you're just joining, the whole gist of this video was kind of to dispel some myths about snakes. We touched on if baby rattlesnakes are more dangerous than adults. We talked about, can you age a rattlesnake by how many rattles? We talked about how far can a rattlesnake strike. We talked about rattlesnakes laying eggs. We talked about what else? That they chase and they jump. Man, all right, I'm gonna let my dog out. Hold on. Hold, you're coming with me, folks. Hey, stop barking. Come here. Hold on, folks. I'm gonna put her on the leash and bring her out. Come here. Come here, sit down. Sit down. Sit down. Okay, come on, beast. All right, sorry about that. Yeah, we just got a new puppy, and I'll introduce you to her. Come here, come here. Sit down, sit down, sit. So this is Maggie, okay? Whoa, your ears are all flopped up. Maggie is a Newfie poo. Oh, dude, you baby. And she's only 6 months old, and she's already almost 80 pounds, so she's gonna be probably 100 pounds. And a Newfie poo is a Newfoundland and a standard poodle. So she's got these weird curly ears. It looks like I crimp them or something, but I don't. But then everything about her is, other than that, is like big dog. So anyway, she was barking, and we got to let her out because she doesn't like to not be part of whatever I'm doing in the garage. So sorry about that. Yeah, she's a great puppy. If you guys like dogs and are okay with a really big dog, highly look into Newfie poos. Brand new breed. Haven't been around more than maybe a few years. Most people have never heard of them. She is lovable, sweet, easily trained, doesn't chew, barely barks, except when she wants to come out because I'm doing a live video. But yeah, she does look like a bird dog. A lot of people think she's either a Springer or some type of pointer. We don't intend to hunt her. We don't get enough hunting around here to really train her to do that. So I'm scared of Chihuahuas. Yeah, Chihuahuas bite, but to each his own about dogs. Was there any more snakes in the couch? Yes. So what happened in that video? And again, it's been viewed so like 17 million times. So I appreciate that. First of all, a lot of people say that video was fake. Nothing I do is fake. I get 3 to 5 calls a day. I have no idea what the snake calls are going to be. I show up. A lot of times I'm by myself, so I can't video. A lot of times I bring either my kids with me or my wife with me. We show up, they start videoing, and we can't find the snake, so that video is wasted. But every now and then we get a really interesting call. And that couch one, if you guys have watched it, 17, almost 18 million views. We showed up, had no clue. I brought one bucket, which is what I always bring, and I ultimately had to go back out to my car and get a second bucket because there was already 3 big snakes in it, and they started to try to crawl out, so I needed to put the lid on it. And I still needed to clear the rest of the furniture and make sure there was no more snakes. So I went to get a second bucket. And when I did, my wife inadvertently didn't continue to film the second part. So there is no second part. We did find 1 additional snake. So there was a total of 4 red diamonds, which are a local rattlesnake here. My videos aren't fake. I always laugh. I always make fun of people that say they're fake because I say, yeah, they're highly trained. I got 1 rattlesnake that can moonwalk. I got 1 that can sing like Justin Bieber. I've even got 1 rattlesnake that we're working on him flying. So pretty soon, I think that we'll be able to train a lot more, do some really cool videos. That's not true though. We don't train any of our snakes, and none of the videos are fake. So I pick up snakes with long handle grabber. I put them in a cooler and relocate them. Awesome. That's so cool, dude. Yeah, just all I recommend is if you choose to relocate a snake, which I think is great, that's how I got started, is be really careful. If you choose to put yourself in close proximity to a snake, even if you have a grabber or a tong or a hook, you are getting closer than you probably need to, and therefore you are putting your risk of being bitten at a higher percentage. If you're trained and you do it, power to you. I'm not going to tell you not to. Just know that if you don't want to get bitten, it's probably just best to walk by them. Cool. Okay, so I talked way longer than I wanted to, but hey, it's Friday afternoon and it's a beautiful day out, and yeah, so that was fun. I really sincerely appreciate people that follow me. I promise to continue to put out the best content I can. It's all going to be snake related, so if you don't like snakes, then don't follow me. But if you like snakes, are interested in snakes, fear snakes, but secretly have a, I want to look, but I don't want to look, interest in them, follow me. Because, a lot of times it's my kids and I with them. So you'll get to see my 10 and 12-year-old working with snakes. Every now and then my wife will jump in a video, although she doesn't really enjoy that as much. But I appreciate it. I joined TikTok solely because my 2 daughters were on it, and they said, Dad, you should do a TikTok page. And I thought that meant I had to do some kind of funky dance because that's what I thought TikTok was. So I'm glad that the platform is an educational one for me, and I get to teach people about snakes, or try to teach people. And there's a lot of closed-minded people that still will come on my page and write, kill it, or the only snake is a dead snake, or cut its head off. And what I'm doing now with those people is I just block them. I don't have time for you, and no interest in your comments, no interest in what you have to say. If you don't like snakes, fine. Don't follow me. Don't make comments about killing them, because if you do, you're just going to get blocked, and I'll forget about you within a split second of blocking you. So anyway, didn't want to end on a negative note, so I'll end on a positive note. Thank you so much. Have a great Labor Day weekend. It's Friday. That means we got, 3 or 4 days ahead of us of hopefully finding some snakes. Hopefully we'll get some cool videos this weekend and some cool content. Keep sending questions to me. I try to answer those. I love all the comments. I try to respond as best I can in the morning when I'm having my coffee at 5 a.m. And then right before I go to bed, I always pick up my phone and look at comments. I try to respond. I try to write back to especially the people that are writing nice or well thought out comments. Again, if you write a kill comment or something like that, I'm just gonna block you because I don't need that stuff. Anyway, don't leave. You're about to hit 700,000. Am I? That's pretty cool. Well, let's see. Early snake season here in Australia. Hey, I'll tell you what, Australia. I've traveled a lot in my life. I have been very fortunate and blessed to have gone to some amazing places. I've traveled to Africa and all over Asia, most of South and Central America, most of Canada, where else? All over. But one place I have not been is Australia. I absolutely will. I don't like to say bucket list because then it sounds like I'm dying, and bucket lists generally aren't done. I am 100% going to go to Australia in my life sometime very soon. And I love all the critters that you guys have. And yes, you guys, I bow down to you, man. You guys have animals far more dangerous than we do. I mean, you got spiders that'll kill you. You got snakes that'll kill you. You got jellyfish that'll kill you. You got cute little clams on the beach that'll kill you. You guys have an octopus that will kill you, let alone great white sharks. So, Australia is a place that has some critters that I would love to see in my life. So hopefully I'll get over there one day. Australia is high on my list. All right, guys, I'm going to sign off. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful long weekend. Please keep all the great comments coming, and I promise to keep doing the best I can to make educational and interesting videos about snakes. Have an awesome weekend. This is what I always do. I always get to this point, and I don't know how to end. Oh, here we go. End. All right. Peace.